Dana had been diagnosed here in Las Vegas with Crohn's disease at age 4 after an appendectomy had been performed, and they sort of accidentally found Crohn's disease. Dana was my patient up until age 23 when I finally had to say, Dana, you're adult age, maybe not adult size, but adult age, and it's time to move on with adult concerns and connect with adult GI. Yeah, I thought that the idea of transplant was a reasonable option for her, considering that she required liters and liters of fluid and nutrition support intravenously at the time of her transplant. She was not able to attend school and college like other young people her age. She wasn't able to participate in events and social engagements as she would have liked to, and just even getting around was very difficult with all of the equipment and difficulties that she had.
Dana bravely decided to have the intestinal transplant, and shortly after she was put on the list, she got the call. The expression on her face was just,
all right.
Okay, this is go time.
Thanks. Okay, all right.
She was ready. She was committed.
Ready?
Ready?
And of course, a little scared, as we all were. But she still had this amazing sense of humor about her. She was trying to decide which hat she was going to wear for the surgery. And so she chose this shark hat. And after we went up and she started to get ready with their taking her vitals and getting her prepared for the team to come in and talk to her, she was ready with her shark hat on.
We had spent so many nights, so many times, in so many surgeries that this night in one hand was no different than all these other nights, but on the flip side, there was a hint of optimism that we were feeling and excitement. So our nervousness about going through surgery again was tempered somewhat by the optimism that we had.
I'm ready.
Who is here with us tonight, and the family just got in, and we're so excited. You look wonderful. We're happy to be with you. This is post-transplant, and only great celebrations from here. Thank you all for being here and celebrating. New year, new organs. Yay, today. Love you all.
Dana knew that it was a risk, but she swung for the fence, and she was all in. And she did well for those 9 months. She got to experience life a little bit of what she hoped it would be. She got to eat a little bit more. She got to have fun with her family and friends. She got to travel just a little bit. And was happy that she had done it, because she tried. And you don't know unless you try. And that's Dana's spirit.
Yeah, we had some of the best times together that we had ever had. Dana was able to come with me to Miami during that time period. She had not been in the ocean as an adult, not since she was very, very young. And watching Dana's face while she was in the ocean was one of the happiest moments of my life. I mean, as a father, you spend a lifetime trying to protect your kids and making sure that they're safe. And when you have a child who's chronically ill her entire life, you have a feeling of hopelessness because you really can't do anything to protect your own kid. That was all wiped away, seeing her face and her eyes to be in the ocean. I have some photographs of her, waving from the water. I mean, it was it was the happiest moment I can really recall ever with Dana.
Dana wanted to be close to her family, and so she came out to UCLA, where she was treated for the rejection. And after long bouts of very intense medication, it was decided that things were not turning around and she needed to have the organ removed. She was transported back to Cleveland Clinic for this surgery. She continued to have infections, and it was getting very difficult. And Dana decided she wanted to come home to be with her family. The infections ensued, and Dana went into hospice care, where she was surrounded by her family and friends. And she transitioned on December 17th of 2017. And she ascended to be with the angels and loved ones that have gone before her. Though Dana was small in stature, she was big in so many ways. Her energy was big. She would fill a room. And sometimes I think that her situation with her body held her back from who she really was trying to be. Dana was the real deal. She emitted spunk, great character in every sense of the word. She was brilliant, and she was funny, and everyone who met Dana really wanted to know her.
Yeah, Dana was quite a character. She would, I spent several days with her in different hospitals, and always noted that she, even when she was feeling her worst, she had a concern about other people and how other people were handling her problems, including her parents. And I think that she did some things that kind of speak to her character and her desire to control what little part of her life she could control.
I remember one of her doctors, Dr. Remzi, told me that he spoke to his residents and interns, and he warned them before going into Dana's hospital room. And he said, "She will ask you questions. She's very involved in her care. If you don't know the answer, tell her you don't know. Do not try to tell her something else, because she will know you're not telling the truth. Don't bullshit her." Dana was a badass in the truest sense of the word, and she would love that ass reference.
I am Dr. Ramsey, and I say remove the anus.
Stop it.
Save the rectum. Is that right?
Just
Or is it the other way around?
Just up.
Oh, remove the rectum. Save the anus. There we go.
Dana loved potty humor. We had jokes all the time, which is how Ostomy Girl came to life. She loved joking about what would make most people uncomfortable. I think that was her way of putting people at ease with her situations.
Dana had a very, very difficult disease, the kind of disease nobody likes to even talk about. As kids will be, they make fart jokes and that type of thing, and Dana took that to a whole new level. I mean, she took that condition that she had, which causes very embarrassing and uncomfortable experiences for her, and took it and made it fun, made it interesting, made it excitement. I mean, the whole thing with the Ostomy Girl, I mean, it was being a superhero. It's just an amazing attitude that she had. And she had an incredible sense of humor, coupled with unbelievable intelligence. And when you put those two things together and you put them in focus with her petite size, it was very revealing on one hand, but at the same time it really caught you off guard that this sense of humor, that this intelligence would come from such a small child.
My favorite Dana story has to be that whenever Dana required a colonoscopy, she would, prior to undergoing the sedation for the test, she would always write a little handwritten message to me and put it in her hospital pants or hospital gown so that I would find it upon uncovering her. And I remember one time her note said, "Dear Dr. Barron, please take good care of me while I'm asleep. I know you always do. If there's something bad, please be kind to my parents when you tell them." And that was just a sign of a character that Dana had, that she was in her worst situations, she was always concerned about everybody else.
Dana's wit and her brilliance were an amazing combination. She dealt with everything through her humor, and she had a lot to deal with. And she was always fun to be around because she was so funny.
Dana has touched a lot of people. She would reach out online to people with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, inflammatory bowel disorders, or somebody had an ostomy, or just young children who were ill. And she had a network of internet friends that after she passed, I got emails from strangers around the world that had some sort of interaction with Dana, who they found comforting to them. And Dana was always there to help people.
Dana lived with enthusiasm, adventure, curiosity, and she lived life to the fullest that she could.
I feel fortunate and blessed to have gotten to know Dana and her parents. I think it's certainly made a big difference in my life and my career. And I think about that song in the show Wicked about because I knew you, I've been changed for good. And that's what I think of when I think of Dana.
I do believe in life after life, and I do know that one day we will all be reunited. I just hope that I can make Dana just a fraction as proud of me as I have always been of her.
I lost my best friend.
I think Dana is the strongest and most courageous person that I will ever meet. And she made such an impact on everyone around her, and she still continues to touch their lives. And the soul lives on, and I feel her every day. I'm constantly surrounded by hummingbirds and butterflies, I think as reminders that she's around, and that always makes me smile. She was and is a very strong presence, and her essence lives on.